Right guys, we have yet another plethora of iPhone 14 reports, this time regarding eSIM support, supply issues, and also Periscope zoom coming to future iPhones, and so let's delve into it. So let's first begin with eSIM support. So the Wall Street Journal believes in Europe and Asia there's been a massive increase in the adoption of eSIM support, and so that could be hinting towards the 14 series removing the SIM card slot. Now I still find this hard to believe because here in the UK where I live, there is still a ton of carriers who don't support eSIMs, and so it would be a mess for consumers to buy their new iPhones and then not be able to put their SIMs within their new phones and not having mobile data, which is a very important part of a device. And so yes, I do think it would be a mess if Apple was to remove the SIM card slot. Because unlike Apple forcing us to move on with the headphone jack, a SIM card slot is an essential part of a smartphone, so I don't think Apple's gonna hurry with this transition. And in fact, global data analyst Emma Moore-McLuhan says Apple is not likely to force consumers to switch to eSIMs, and instead they could be offering two versions, one with a SIM card slot and one without, and it's up to carriers to decide which of these iPhones to sell to consumers. And I guess I could see this happening, but then again I could see some consumers accidentally buying the eSIM only version of the 14 series, and so having two variants within the same country would be a bad idea, and instead, I think the US models should be the first to remove the SIM card slot, since as far as I know that's already widely available in the US, and then of course, we see that trickle down to other countries. And why I say this is because the US is Apple's key market, and they already offer millimeter wave with the US versions of the iPhones, and so offering another exclusive feature for these models definitely makes sense. And actually in China, Apple offers two physical SIM card slots because that market needs that, and so similar to that, since the US already has wide adoption of eSIMs, I can see them getting this first. And actually there have been sources who have said carriers in the US are preparing for phones in the fall that come with eSIMs only, so of course that could be the 14 series. Anyways, let's now move on to production for these iPhones. So Ross Young told us the 14 Max is massively pushed back, and the Pro Max is seeing 3 times the volume compared to the Max. That's a massive margin, and of course many have been worried the 14 Max is gonna see a delayed release. And while supply chain analyst Minchiko says that's not going to be the case, because the gaps in the supply chain are going to be filled by other suppliers. So for example, LG Display's having issues producing the 14 Max displays, and so Samsung Display and BOE of course come to help and make up for the difference between the 14 Pro Max and regular Max panel shipments. And then of course by the time that happens, LG Display should sort out the issue they're temporarily facing with the production of these panels, and they can take over the full production of the 14 Max. And yeah, what Quo tells us does make sense because Tim Cook is a supply chain master, so for their biggest product, I'm sure that Apple is going to get these iPhones out on time to consumers and boost their sales. And the same goes for the faster LPDDR5 RAM with the Pros. Samsung, Micron and SK Hynix are producing these modules, and Apple has 3 different suppliers because Samsung had issues with the certification schedule and SK had issues with the quality of these modules. And so having 3 different suppliers, of course, makes up for the minor delays. Anyways, let's now move on to the camera upgrades with the 14 Pros. So of course, we know a 48 megapixel main sensor is coming to the Pros, but the rumors regarding 8K video have been quiet, though we do now have Quo telling us that yes, 8K should be coming to these models, and 8K ProRes could be a feature with these new Pros, giving you insane video quality. Now Quo says, the main reason we're getting 8K is to give us a better user experience when displaying these on larger panels like TVs. But I'll be honest guys, this primarily seems to be a flex from Apple because we know that Samsung and other manufacturers do already offer this tech, but of course with the ProRes codec, I'm sure video quality is going to be even better with these iPhones. The only worry is of course the transferring speeds with these super slow lightning ports. That's going to be a pain when it comes to 8K video, so of course I'm really excited to get the USB-C ports with the iPhone 15 series. And actually, regarding the 15 series, Quo does tell us we should see a periscope zoom lens only on the Pro Max. So yes, much like we saw with the 12 Pro Max, it seems that initially the 15 Pro Max is going to be the first iPhone to get this tech, and that makes sense because the 15 is the beginning of a new supercycle and we tend to see features exclusive to the bigger model. For example, the 6 Plus had optical image stabilization, which of course the 6 did not. The same applied to the 10, where of course it got the new design, and the Face ID tech the 8 and the 8 Plus did not get. And then of course with the 12 Pro Max, we saw the much larger main sensor, so Quo telling us periscope zoom is going to be exclusive with the 15 Pro Max certainly makes sense. But do not worry guys, like we saw with the 13 Pro series, we should see the camera tech come down to the regular size the following year. So Quo tells us the 16 and 16 Pro series should get the periscope zoom, and the main specs of the periscope zoom with the 15 and 16 series are going to be very similar. So 1x3 inch 12 megapixel sensor that has an f2.8 aperture, sensor shift support, and also 5 to 6 times optical zoom, which to be honest is actually kinda low. I was expecting 10 times to match other Android phones, though maybe we'll see that with a future iPhone instead. And yeah, to be honest, I'll take even a small improvement to the telephoto because Apple is far behind the competition in this aspect, and so massively improving this with the 15 series is really going to be great. Anyways, coming back to the 14 series, Quo does say we should see a new ultra-wide lens that offers a 7-element lens instead of 6 like we saw with the 13 Pros. That's a pretty minor improvement, though to be fair, the 13 Pro ultra-wide was a massive upgrade, giving us much clearer images with the autofocus and also macro modes, and so yes, I would not expect many upgrades to the ultra-wide. So yeah, pretty excited about the camera upgrades, though I'll be honest guys, I do also kind of hate how the camera bump is getting outrageous in terms of the size. It's going to be even thicker and bigger with the 14 Pros, and so do pray that maybe in the future Apple can reduce this and possibly go back to a flat camera bump. Anyways, those are my thoughts guys, but tell me your thoughts regarding this report in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the video above on details regarding the M2 iPad Pros, and on that note, see ya peeps.